here with senior catcher Ryan Fesmire to preview the 2017 Concordia baseball season. We'll take a little bit of a look at last year first. You ended up the season with some momentum, came up one win short of reaching the GPAC championship game, which would have been the first time in program history. What did that say maybe about how far the program has come and how far you've seen it come in your time here?
It's definitely changed. Like, I was here for my freshman year, we went 16-30. It was a rough one, but then I've really seen the culture change, the talent change, the players change, and especially last year we really built off that at the end of the year, and were able to get I guess a couple wins in a much needed place. And I mean, you can just tell the competitiveness and toughness has definitely increased since the freshman year, and really the culture in general has increased.
Yeah, what has been the biggest difference in changing that culture? Maybe you've noticed some things that Coach Dupick instilled right away when he got here.
He came in and right away, well, not right away, he watched, I guess, the first season. It went a lot better, but then it was, so I guess after sophomore year, so after his first season is when he really started to change things, and it started with the culture of the team. And so with the culture, what that looks like is everybody's held accountable more. The coaches hold you accountable, and especially the players will hold each other accountable more. And if you can get the players to do that and hold each other accountable and continue to compete, then that's I believe where things start getting special.
Now this team has a lot of guys back from the lineup last year that set a program record for runs scored a second year in a row. How excited are you about offensive potential now that this team has?
I think we really have a chance to be really good this year. If I guess it's in I guess the first time in the 4 years I've been here that we really actually have a shot at winning GPAC this year, and it would almost be a disappointment if we didn't win GPAC. I think with what we have on the table, especially in the offensive category, we should be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Geiger, Montero, they're pretty big dudes. I mean, you find yourself comparing yourself to them. I mean,
Geiger hits the ball really hard, and so does Montero, and a lot of the people on the team this year are going to hit the ball very hard.
And as a catcher, obviously you get to know the strengths and weaknesses as well of the pitching staff. How has this staff kind of come along since the end of last year?
Well, we returned Josh Prater, and Neil Ryan. Those are probably the two main starters that'll be back. And then, I mean, other than that, it's a lot of younger kids, freshmen and stuff like that. We got Cade Mooring and stuff, but Schaefer. But a lot of new people, new kids, and transfers that are really going to come in and step up, and I think really accept the challenge.
Now, as spectators, a lot of times we wonder when the catcher goes out to talk to the pitcher, what are they actually talking about? Is it usually something serious, or do you try to ease the tension a little bit?
There's a couple of different ways you can go about that. From the catcher, you have to realize who the pitcher is and what they're going to react to. But I've always been a fan of just going out there and talking nonsense to them, telling them a joke, giving them a good knock joke or something like that. Just something to completely stop thinking about whatever you're doing. I mean, there's catchers that'll go out there and say something with mechanics and stuff, but I've always been the one to joke around with the pitchers and kind of get them to calm down, and I've seen it work. So that's really what I stick with.
Mm-hmm. What is the kind of atmosphere within this team? I mean, we all watched the Cubs win the World Series with a team that seemed to have a ton of fun playing together with each other. I mean, how is this?
I think we're definitely close. A lot closer than, I guess, when I was a freshman, so I can compare it to. And when I was a freshman, you kind of looked at, God, the older guys do their thing, and then the young guys do their thing. But now I think we're probably the closest team, one of the closest teams I've ever been on, and I think that's really going to pay off when the season comes.
How are you getting by without Mark Harris? I know you put out that touching photo of you and him last year, but I mean you're working to develop those kind of bonds with some of the other pitchers.
Of course, that's always you got to create the bonds. Me and Mark had a really good bond. He's definitely going to be a big loss for the pitching staff, but I mean, yeah, when the catcher and the pitcher can bond like that, it's always special. But I think there's other bonds and friendships to have out there on the team this year.
Now, you already talked about expectations are a lot higher this year than maybe they've been any other time in your career, and the team was picked third in the coaches poll. How does that make this season feel a little bit different than the last three, now that there are some expectations?
There are expectations, but I mean, honestly, I think if you ask almost anybody on the team, if we finished third in GPAC this year, we would be disappointed. We really honestly believe that we can go out there and win GPAC, or at least be in the championship game. But honestly, you could ask probably most people on the team, and they'd say if we only got third place in GPAC, we'd be a little disappointed.
All right, now I've got a few quick hitters for you.
Okay.
All right. Besides yourself, who's the funniest teammate?
Caleb Geiger.
Most fun you've had as a Concordia baseball player? I don't know if there's a memory from a game or just hanging out.
It would have to be after when we're playing a weekend series down in Kansas or something like that, and we're spending the night in a hotel, and if you get 2 wins the first day and come back and maybe eat dinner in the hotel and you just hang out with the guys in the hotel, those are always really good experiences, and especially when you're a freshman and you can experience those are things you look back on. And I think even as your life continues to go, I think I'll continue to look back on just staying in the hotel with your buddies after you get a couple wins. Those are some fun experiences.
You're from Colorado. What's your favorite thing about Seward?
Seward. There's a lot of places to hunt that are close to here.
Is there a phrase or something about Coach Dupick that he does that players imitate?
Yeah. If we're in a meeting and somebody loses eye contact, he'll snap at you and say, "Eyes on me" or something like that. And I guess that's the thing you don't want to have him do, is really snap at you, because he'll snap and say eyes here, eyes up. But just make sure to look at him, and that won't happen.
How much do some of those foul tips actually hurt behind the plate? I mean, you've had some rough ones.
Yeah, you can catch foul tips to wrist and hands and stuff, and it does hurt. But then the way I always get through it is when you get back to dugout, people are like, "Man, this got hurt," and then you just kind of brush off like it didn't hurt. I guess it makes you look cool, but I don't know. They do underneath. You can definitely feel them.
A celebrity that you'd most like to meet?
Yadier Molina.
Biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve. When spelling things, like when you confuse there and there and there, like the 3 types of theirs. I don't like that. Like when you're reading a paper and it's wrong, and then and then when people mix that up. I'm not a fan of that. I don't know, I'm sure there's a lot of other things that I just can't think of.
Those things make me mad.
Yeah.
What would you do if you suddenly inherited $1 billion?
$1 billion. If you would have asked me this last year, I would have said drop out of college, but I got 4 months left, so I'm going to continue to go to college. I would have a large house with a lot of land and no debt.
Probably donate something to
Yeah.
Concordia baseball.
We'd have a new baseball field on campus, non-campus baseball field.
Why did you choose Concordia?
To play baseball. There's the one school that would let me play baseball, and so I came here.
And last thing, what's your biggest sell on why people should attend Concordia baseball games this year?
Because Caleb Geiger, Christian Montero, Jason Galliano, Jake Adams, really, there'll be 5, 6 people in the lineup that will be able to consistently hit a ball over the fence. And that's what you watch on SportsCenter. You watch the home runs, and you'll see the team's going to hit a lot of home runs this year, going to score a lot, and that's always fun things to watch.